Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a necklace today, and I'm going to use some of the beads that came in the GGC's treasure bag that I got recently, her most recent bag. It's called Winter Wonders. I was lucky enough to snag one this time. They sell out really quickly. This one's already sold out, of course. It's not a subscription that you can subscribe to. She puts out a bag, I think it's about once every other month or so. And but if you go to her website, and I'll put a link to her website in the description box below, if you go to her website and sign up for her emails, she'll send out an email about 2 or 3 days before she's going to release her next bag, and that way you'll know, and you can hopefully snag you one before they get sold out. And I'll put a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below to the unbagging, I guess you call it, for this that I did, the video that I did where I show all the different beads and findings that came in the bag. And here I'm using the 6 by 5.5 millimeter pentagon faceted round beads, the clear ones, and these are the same thing in red. And in here I have the 13 by 10 millimeter grade AAA crystal bicone beads, and I've got 4 of the red ones and 4 of the clear ones, and then I've got another red one in this little dish here that's going to be part of my focal. And here I've got the 3 millimeter light gold synthetic hematite beads that came in the bag. In here, like I said, this is going to be my focal, and that's one of those bicone beads. And then this is the 32 by 9 by 6 millimeter faceted red long drop brass and glass pendant. And I've got a little gold hanger bell from my stash in there. And in here I've got some findings from my stash. I've got a lobster clasp, 3 6 millimeter jump rings, 1 8 millimeter jump ring. I've got a couple of pieces of chain. I've got a little bit of extender chain and a ball head pin that I'm going to hang. I don't know if you can even see that, but that's one of those clear pentagon beads in there. I'm going to hang it off the extender chain as a dangle, put it on that ball head pin. And then I've got 2 2x2 crimp tubes and 2 wire guardians in there. I've got a piece of 20 gauge German style wire that I'm going to use. It's about a 4-inch piece of wire, and I know I usually use 22 gauge, but this is going to be for my focal, and I decided I probably need to use start using a thicker wire for my focal area when I do wire. So this is a 20 gauge gold German style wire. I've got my soft flex beading wire in fine. This is 21 strand, and it's the satin silver color. I don't have it in gold, and the wire is not going to be exposed anyway, so you're not really going to be able to see the wire. I've got my bead stoppers. I'll be using my chain nose pliers, my tweezer pliers, my round nose pliers, both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers, both pairs of my crimping pliers, and both pairs of my cutters. And I've got my little New Orleans shot glass that I'm going to put my wires in when I cut them off. And I think that's everything. I'll put links to everything I can find links for in the description box below. If you didn't get the box, or this bag, her Winter Wonders treasure bag, she has on her website, she sells a lot of these beads, and she might still have these beads on her site for sale. If you didn't get the bag and you wanted to get some of these beads, she might still have some of them on her site. I'm not sure. So hold on, and I'll get some of my beads poured out, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to start with my focal here, like I usually always do. And I'm going to take my piece of 20 gauge wire here, and I'm going to go down probably about 1.5 inches. It's probably too much wire, but I'm not used to using this thicker wire, so I thought I might need more. I'm going to bend it over at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take my round nose pliers, put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. I'm going to bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take the short piece under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Now I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to open my loop. And I'm going to thread on my pendant. I'm going to close my loop. Now I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. I'm going to take this part and wrap the shorter piece around the longer piece about 3 times. I usually do this with my hands, but since this wire is thicker, I think I'll use my other pair of bent chain nose pliers to make sure I get it tight around that longer piece of wire. Okay, now I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. I think my loop has got kind of not straight down here, so I'm going to straighten him up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to put my bicon on. I'm going to take my pliers, and I usually go to the very tip of the pliers when I do this, but because this wire is thicker and I want to try to get 3 wraps in, I'm going to go a little bit, I'm not going to go to the very tip, I'm going to go a little bit more than that. I'm going to bend the wire at a 90-degree angle. Put the wire around those pliers in the crook of the bend, around those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. And for me, that usually stands my little piece of wire almost straight up there. Now I need to open, almost forgot that, I need to open my loop because I want to thread on my bail. Of course, you can use a jump ring here if you want to do that, or at both ends of this if you want to use a jump ring. I just wanted to directly wire wrap it to the bail and to the pendant. So now I'm going to close my loop. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down some. I'll take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. And I want to get that first wrap in under the bottom of the loop and not over the top of the bottom of the loop, like I have done many, many times before. And it looks like I did have way too much wire here, but I'm not used to working with the 20 gauge wire. So I thought I might need more. Trying to straighten these up. Now I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. And I use these crimping pliers, the little half circles at each end. I use those to tuck in my wire, the burrs that's left when I cut off wire. And you just have to be really careful here, because it's easy to crack a bicone, so you don't want to crack your bicone. So that's going to be my focal for my necklace. Now the rest of this is just going to be stringing, and I'm going to go ahead and string up half of it, and then I'll come back and show you what my pattern is, and then I'll do the other half of it off camera, so y'all don't have to sit and watch me string beads. So when I get half of it strung up, I'll be back and show you what I've done. Okay, this is what I've got so far. I've got a spacer bead between all the beads, and I've started with 3 of my red pentagon beads, 1 bicone, 3 pentagon beads, red pentagon beads, 1 red bicone, 3 pentagon beads, 1 bicone, 3 pentagon beads, 1 bicone, 3 pentagon beads for that side. Now I'm going to take 2 of my little spacer beads here and put them on here. And then I'm going to hang my pendant on here, and my pendant is going to hang over top of those 2 little spacer beads like that. It'll rest on top of them. Now this is going to be an asymmetrical necklace because I'm in an asymmetrical mood today. So I'm going to do 3 of my clear beads with a spacer between them. And then one of my clear bicones and a spacer bead. So I'm going to do exactly the same pattern on the other side of my necklace, except just with the clear beads instead of the red ones. So when I get all that strung up, I'll come back and we'll crimp it. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got it all strung up here now. Clear on one side, red on the other side. Now I'm going to take my crimp tubes, put it on my wire. And one of my wire guardians. And I'm going to go down the other tail of my wire guardian. And back through my crimp tube. And I'm going to keep my wires from crossing. I'm going to tuck in my little wire guardian a little bit. I'll try to hold my wires apart. Get this turned around here like I want it to be. Now I'll take my other pair of crimping pliers because I like these crimping pliers better for crimping. And I'm going to go on the part there that has that little tooth, and I'm going to lay the tooth on top. And I'm going to squeeze. And that puts each wire in its own little channel there. Now I'm going to go on the part up here with the half circles. There's 3 half circles on each side. I'm going to go on the middle one because that's the one for the 2x2 crimp tubes. I'm going to lay my crimp in there. Squeeze. Fold my crimp. And I'm going to go down a little bit, down and squeeze just a little more. And I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut off my extra wire. And I've still got this attached to the spool. I usually just leave it attached to the spool if I know what my design's going to be, because I kind of feel like maybe I don't waste hardly as much wire that way as if I cut off a piece. So now I'm going to cut it off my spool here. I'm going to take my other crimp tube and my other wire guardian. I'm going to tuck in my little wire guardian. Now I'm going to go down the other channel of my wire guardian. Back through my crimp tube. Keep my wires from being crossed. And I like to go through a bead on this side to get my hands out of the way, and it kind of centers the wire guardian over the last bead better when you do that. But it's mostly to get my hands out of the way because it's harder to crimp on this side than it is the other side because everything's in the way. I'll hold my wire guardian, pull my wire through. Now, I want to make sure there's no slack in my piece, but I don't want it to be too tight either because I want to be able to drape well, and I usually leave it coiled up like this, and that keeps it from being too tight. So now I'm going to take my crimping pliers that go in that part with the tooth again, lay the tooth on top of my crimp tube and squeeze. Now I'm going to turn it and go in that part with the half circles and squeeze again. Go down, squeeze a little bit more to get it good and tight. Now I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut off my extra wire. So that's what I've got so far. So now I'm going to get my other findings together and finish it up. I'll be back. Okay, I've got my other findings now, and I'm always forgetting to tell y'all how long these things are. I just always forget, but I remembered this time. The necklace part here, this part it came to about 15 inches, and I usually make them about 20-21 inches. So I've got, and my lobster clasp and jump rings and all that will add about an inch. So, and of course my pendant is going to add some length. So it's probably going to turn out to be longer than I mean for it to anyway, because it usually is. But so I've got 15 inches here. I've got a couple of pieces of wire here that I think are about 2 inches long. Let me see. That might be more like 2.5. No, they're not hardly 2 inches long each. These little pieces of wire here are. I mean chain. So I'm going to take a jump ring and open. This is a 6mm jump ring. I'm going to open it and put on my chain. And one side of my necklace. Close it up really well. And I'm going to do that on the other side. Take a 6mm jump ring. Open it up. Put on my other piece of chain. My other side of my necklace. Close it up. And now I'm going to take another 6mm jump ring and open it up. Put on this end of my chain and my lobster clasp. Close my jump ring up really well. I'm going to take an 8mm jump ring and put it on this side and put my extender chain on here to stick to my pliers. There we go. Make sure to get it closed up really well. Now I'm going to take my ball head pin and my little clear pentagon bead and put it on there to make a little dangle to go on my extender chain. Go to the tip of the pliers, bend over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, around those pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the bead, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead, and I'm going to open my loop, which I forget to do about 99% of the time. I'm going to thread on my extender chain. I'm going to close my loop. Take my around those pliers and hold on to my loop. Try to hold my chain back out of the way here. Bring my wire down a little bit there. I'll take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. I'm just going to wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, and I know I look like I'm using the same pair of cutters this whole time, but I have a different pair of cutters for my craft wire and head pins and eye pins than I do for my bead stringing wire. Because if you use the same cutters, it will to cut craft wire and head pins and eye pins, it will dull them really quickly, and they won't cut the bead stringing wire. So I have a different pair that I use for that. I have a piece of masking tape on there so I know which one's which. So now I'm going to cut off my extra wire. I'm going to take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burr that's left there. And now I'm all done. So hold on and let me get all my tools and everything put up, and I'll be back. Okay, there's my first necklace made from the beads that I got in the GGC's treasure bag, the Winter Wonders treasure bag. I'm sure I'll have many more pieces of jewelry made out of this bag. It's such a beautiful bag, and there's so many beads and bindings in there, and they're so beautiful and they go so well together. I used to never do an asymmetrical design. I know some people don't like asymmetrical designs. Some people really do like them. I used to never do anything asymmetrical. I just always, everything had to be in pattern. And now every now and then I just really enjoy doing an asymmetrical design. And that's what I was in the mood to do today. So this is what come out of it. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry, and I also sell gift cards and some extra beads that I have. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.